Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So, tonight Bitcoin is coming up once again, but not just Bitcoin today. Ethereum and the entire market is moving up. So let's talk about what's going on today, what's moving or what's driving markets up, and also let's talk about this fair value for Bitcoin. That's right at $42,000. What does that mean exactly? Well, let's take a look. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing okay. You know what? The market's doing okay. That's for sure. So, I mean, just look at it. Right now, Ethereum is up 1,900, getting close to 2,000 once again, up 6%. Bitcoin is retesting this 28.8 mark. Right? Things are looking good. Things are looking really green right now. Matic up almost 6%, and you got a lot of movers. Avalanche and Uniswap and Lido's up 15%. Today's a pretty good day. Good day. Well, why is this? Well, looking at the markets, U.S. market today, I saw this. Yeah, I don't know if this really relates, but it could, or I'm going to try to explain another way. But in terms of U.S. market, the Fed is finally getting what it wanted, which is weakness in the economy, right? So we're starting to see job openings fall, and there's a few more economic data that's coming out. Tomorrow, we will have ADP employment numbers. On Thursday, we'll have jobless claim numbers. And on Friday, we'll have unemployment numbers. But today, we did have another reading, which shows that for the first time in 2 years, job openings is now below 10 million overall. Came in disappointing. So that means that Powell is probably, I don't know if he's smiling, but this is what he wanted altogether. So, I mean, he wants to see job market go down, the economy become weak, right? That's how he plans on battling inflation. And if you look at the next FOMC, the probability of the next fund rate, like 60% right now, close to 60%, meaning that at zero. That's what people are anticipating. Okay, so I don't know if this has something to do with what we're seeing right now, because a Fed that is not going to be raising rates is good for economies overall, right? That's one way to look at it. But another thing that I saw that may be driving Bitcoin up is this. I've been talking about how the world is thinking about getting off the US standard, the USD standard. I mean, it kind of started with Brazil, but really it started with Russia, obviously China, now Brazil, right? And also possibly Japan, because Japan is also buying Russian oil now, breaking their $60 barrel cap, like kind of, I don't know, cap set by NATO, right? And Japan, are buying Russian oil not with USD because Russia's not going to allow that. So you're starting to see it happen more and more. And then I saw this, Malaysia's prime minister also was quoted today. I don't know the context of this, but supposedly he said there's no reason for Malaysia to continue depending on the dollar. It's starting to happen more and more now. You're hearing more and more from major countries that are starting to do trade without the USD. So does that mean the USD is going to go bye-bye pretty soon? Well, hopefully not. I don't think anytime soon, but it may be the start of the end, where the USD is no longer going to be the world reserve currency of tomorrow, right? And maybe it'll be Bitcoin one day. But, these kind of economic stuff that's happening today, I don't know if that's the reason why Bitcoin is going up, but they don't hurt. With the dollar losing strength, the DXY coming down, and also countries getting off the USD standard, another reason why to get into Bitcoin, to get into something better, the greatest store of value that we have today, right? And also with the Fed getting more dovish, well, that's also good for Bitcoin and crypto and all markets, right? So maybe these two things had something to do with it. Or maybe it has nothing to do with any of it, and Bitcoin is just on its way up because it's supposed to do that. We are coming up from bottom. It has consolidated for quite some time, right around the 28,000. The last week or so, we've seen some volatility up and down, right? But overall, we are itching to break that 28,700 mark. Then we'll see 30,000, and who knows, maybe it's 42,000 right around the corner. A lot of people think that 42,000 is the next mark. There's a lot of fractal patterns. In fact, this morning I showed one. If we're following the same fractal pattern from 2019, when we had that big jump up initially from 3,000 all the way to 14,000, Bitcoin should be around 40-something thousand, like 47,000 or 42,000. But this is another chart. Not using fractal pattern. This is actually looking at the energy usage, okay, of Bitcoin. And when there's like the fancy algorithm that takes into account basically the energy usage, and if you extract what Bitcoin's fair value is from that usage, well, it's around $42,000. That's how we're coming up with this, okay? And why we should pay attention to this? Well, just look at it. Just look at it. Going back to 2019, there's so many similarities when we broke above from bottom and heading to the top, right? If you look at, same thing happened. The fair value of Bitcoin was much higher back then, right? Especially when we dipped down to like $3,000, which sucked really badly, okay? So if you think 17,000 or 15,000 Bitcoin sucked, well, imagine 3,000 Bitcoin. Those of us that lived through it, it was no fun. And every other day, you had some other analyst saying, well, Bitcoin's going to fall to 1,000 and below, right? Like endless FUD. But it didn't happen. That was bottom, and we recovered upwards. And it looks very similar now. We had a longer prolonged down because we had a bigger collapse. Also, this is the first time Bitcoin has been through a recession, right? And I think all things considering, Bitcoin has done very well in this recession, and it is the greatest performer so far in 2023 by a long shot. Bitcoin's up 70% this year, while everything else is still near zero or below, right? But if we're using this calculation to measure Bitcoin's fair value, well, it should be about $42,000. And this is not the only thing I've been showing you guys, right? But it's very exciting. Very, very exciting. And this may be the reason why we're going up, because it's just about time. You know, we've been hovering here for quite some time. A lot more people are coming into this space because it's getting exciting. And also they're learning about the shenanigans from the banks and possibly afraid of the USD becoming devalued. So, you know, what better asset to get into than Bitcoin? Here's another one looking at ribbons, okay? EMA hash, no, not hash ribbons, just EMA ribbons. But basically you look at very similar to 2019, right? And then also you go back to the 2015 bottom, we are coming above. Bitcoin is breaking through all these moving averages. And whenever it does that, it doesn't happen very often. First of all, it doesn't happen very often that we break below. That only happens towards the bottom of a cycle. But then, you know, on the flip side, it doesn't happen very often we break above. But usually when we do, very good things happen, right? So, and then this one, total supply last active. This shows you basically whenever retail investors come in, then the supply last active between 1 and 2 years drops, right? But whenever there's like a downfall, whenever there's a bottom, a lot of retail investors leave, right? But you could clearly see how Bitcoin's price is moving in the inverse direction of this last supply for 1 or 2 years, right? You could see the inverse relationship, and guess what? It's starting to happen, right? You're starting to see that supply last active 1 to 2 years go down. That means the price is going to start going up. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And of course, the number of holders below 1 Bitcoin is skyrocketing. I showed one just the other day about holders that's holding at least 1 Bitcoin, around 1 million addresses, right? Even more so for addresses below 1 Bitcoin. It's skyrocketing right now, skyrocketing. So obviously holders not going away. retail investors starting to come back in. We know institutional investors starting to come back in. And this is the very beginning of this next cycle, right? Just imagine 2024 when we have the next halving event and beyond, how wild it's going to be. And then, you know, the Fed may be pivoting. By then, the Fed may be cutting rates. So think about it. It would be like a perfect storm, right? All together. Absolutely fantastic. That's what we have to look forward to. Also, in terms of adoption, look at this. Ralph Lauren, Polo, partners with BitPay to accept Bitcoin payments at the new Miami store. That's fantastic. A lot of people keep asking me, like, George, what if one day we can't, you know, cash out our Bitcoin? What if the banks all shut down these fiat off-ramps? You know what? The end mission is this. You don't have to do that. The end mission is to basically just use Bitcoin and crypto to pay for everything. We're very far off from there, but it's starting to happen more and more and more and more. Of course, there's debit cards and credit cards that you can also use right now, right? But merchants are also starting to accept Bitcoin directly, right? It's starting to happen. And in the future, you won't need to cash out. In the future, you just spend your crypto however you want, right? That's the end game. Starting to happen. So those are all good things. As for crypto, overall, I did mention a lot of altcoins are going up. One of the recent exciting things that happened in crypto is Arbitrum and its recent airdrop. Arbitrum is one of the biggest layer 2s out there, right? They recently airdropped a whole bunch of tokens. Then there was some FUD. I'm not even quite sure what the FUD is really about. Supposedly there's like a portion of Arbitrum that was either sold ahead of time or something like that. But nevertheless, Arbitrum is still holding well, like above $1 billion market cap. And there's still a lot of usage, a lot of dApps, a lot of users on top, right? So Arbitrum doing very well, but they're kind of bucking the trend because they started with no token and now they added a token. Very little projects start out that way. Like Uniswap also started no token, then they added a token. But most projects start out with a token or a coin, right? But in this case, Arbitrum kind of proved that you could be successful without one. But something else that caught my eye is this. There's another layer 2 that came out right after Arbitrum airdrop that most people miss. It's called zkSync, of course, using ZK technology. It's another layer 2 to help dApps scale on top of Ethereum. And why this is exciting, because they're another L2, and they already have 110 million within their DeFi ecosystem just a week after launching, right? Ethereum is definitely the hot platform, the hot network, the hot L1 that everyone wants to program on top, which is why all the other chains have become EVM compatible, even though they started not EVM compatible. But ZK rollups is like the next evolution, where most projects are trying to use ZK rollups to scale and introduce privacy features, right? So this project is all about that. And you know, they don't have a token right now. They have a whole bunch of transactions. They have a whole bunch of tokens locked in, but there's talks about, hey, in the future, just like Arbitrum, they will be airdropping tokens based on usage. Similarly, it's all rumorville, right? But I bring this up because it is another L2. And in case you want to check out all the L2s, go to the site called DeFi Llama and go under chains, and you can see all the L1s and L2s and how many dApps are on top, how many users. These are approximations, by the way. And then you go look at the total value locked, which is TVL, which is basically sitting in the, they're being staked within liquidity pools and bridges and, you know, dApps like that, right? But obviously, you have the big dog, Ethereum, right? I totally discount Tron because that is totally fake and no one should trust anything from Justin Sun. So we're just going to remove that. But then you can look at Binance Smart Chain as number 3 or number 2. Arbitrum is number 3. Then you have Polygon, Optimism, Avalanche, Phantom, and then you have several others, right? So interesting stuff. And the more, and Ethereum commands almost 60%. And the more value gets locked in, the better it is. Better it is. Eventually, you see right here on the right side, well, I guess it cuts off. But on the right side, there's a market cap to TVL ratio. They don't have anything listed in there. But eventually, I think we'll be able to judge a project's market cap based on TVL. Right now, we're nowhere close to there. But maybe in the future, we can. That's another metric we could use, right? But overall, today is a pretty good day. And you can see a market cap is 1.21 trillion. And Bitcoin is itching to break through this mark once again, 28.8. Looking good. Looking good. All right, guys. Let's do some Q&A. All right, let me scroll up here. Jolamas, don't be a party pooper. Down to Moto, appreciate that. Vegeta saying buy Phantom now before it goes parabolic. I thought you jumped off the Phantom bandwagon. Let's see here. That's the very beginning. Jojo, welcome back. All right, let's see here. Scrolling. Stan Green, appreciate it. Glad you have diamond hands. All right. Emily asks, which altcoins will be best to buy for tokenization purposes? Are you a project developer? Are you trying to tokenize something? Or are you trying to come out there and token? Or are you just like talking about in general? If you're talking about in general, just go with Ethereum because everyone is trying to use the ERC20 standard, right? I don't know if that's what you mean, or you're trying to like come out with your own token. Yeah, I don't really know. Penny Vision. I'm not going to answer that. Shanghai effect on Ethereum price? Could be. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner because Shanghai upgrade, was talked about for a long time. It was supposed to come out in March, delayed, they said, until April. So it's right around the corner. But, I thought they would have, kind of pre-pumped ahead of time. But now we're starting to see a little bit of it. So can we see 2,000 ETH in the near future? Probably. PowerSir anime videos. There's this company that reached out to me. Yeah, they're using AI to translate my voice. They're dubbing it, and they're getting better because the second one is better than the first one, especially the Chinese version. So they're not public yet. They're kind of using me as a test. So I can't really refer them yet. But their whole thing is they want to prove it, and then anyone could use it for their channels, right? They want to make it so that's very easy, and they could do like a lot of cool stuff. Later on, they could match emotions, and right now they're like the fastest in terms of translating. You could do it on the fly, basically, almost like that, with live streams, which is very hard to do, but they're still work in progress. Digi, no, Matt. I read BTC standard. Explain BTC in your own words. I could say it 100 different ways, honestly, but what do you want to hear? You want to hear about the store of value aspect, the medium exchange aspect, the network aspect? I mean, there's many different ways you can explain Bitcoin. Do you think ETH pump could be due to whales manipulating the price so they can sell it at a profit once unlock comes? Sure. Anything is possible. DZO says finally broke even, probably due to all your DCA. Congratulations. Congratulations. Tomorrow I'll check my DCA portfolio with you guys and see how it's doing. Are you thinking about releasing any more NFTs before next bull run? I'm glad I picked up my strap on NFT. I'm glad you did. I am, but I'm trying to create more utility first. Like, for example, during Bitcoin 2023, trying to arrange some kind of meetup. So, you know, stuff like that. Also, I have to plan for my conference, hopefully being 2024, something like that. But I'm trying to concentrate on those first before releasing any more. More bullish on Solana or Avalanche? Avalanche. I'm not very bullish on Solana these days. Human node. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Hey, YouTube said celebrated first super chat from F. Actually, YouTube tells you that, huh? $1.7 million market cap. I'm sorry, that's way too low. Way too low. Do I own any sheep? No, I do not. Can I pull up the full moon chart? Oh, yeah. Hey, we just passed the vernal equinox, which is probably spring. And then, yeah, full moon is either today or tomorrow. So the full moon effect is happening. Look at this. You know, this pump right here? That was also due to a full moon. You could say the full moon caused the crash or it went up. Look at this one. Right? Right here. Full moon. And this one was a crash. See, whenever full moon happens, something happens. Either a large pump or a large dump. So maybe we're going to get a large pump starting from today and tomorrow up to like $32,000. Like, seriously, every dump that we had, like right here, look, it's a full moon. Here's a full moon pump. Here's a full moon dump. Here's a full moon pump. Like, you could equate it to like every dump or pump for Bitcoin. There are some whales or bots that's programmed to buy or sell on full moons. No, I don't own any sheep. I answered that already. Alltrack. I use Delta Investment app. It's a great mobile app. Sometimes it freezes and is slow, but for the most part it works, and they update it pretty often in terms of the coins and tokens out there. Do I own a Phantom? Yes, I own a lot of Phantom. I think it's still very promising L1, L2. Andre Croney, he's definitely a DeFi master, architect. And ever since he came back to Phantom regained a lot of strength. So, no, I don't own any Doge. No. Have I heard of Ontology? Yes. They're like a sister chain to Neo. I've given up on Neo and Ontology. I think they just took way too long to do what they needed to do. So I have heard of them before. How to file for crypto taxes? Well, you need to use a software to calculate all your trades, right? Like coin tracking. I have an affiliate link in the description. They do a really good job at basically, but there's a lot of them. But basically, they hook up to all the exchanges and calculate all your trades, right? They'll print out a schedule, I think Schedule D or something like that. And then you could just import that into your TurboTax or into it, or you could give it to your accountant. That's the easiest way to do it. If you're trying to do it by hand, it's like virtually impossible. You're going to make mistakes and very time consuming. Any faith or value in Baby Doge? No. The only meme coin that I trust that is creating value is SHIB right now. Okay, so everything else, I don't know. I just don't know. There's one other meme coin. I can't mention them. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Let's just say I talked to a few community members recently, and I was impressed by the members. Not so much by the coin, but by the members. Any thoughts on today's gold silver pump? Probably anything that's pumping gold or silver is due to one of two things. Number one is the DXY going down, and DXY goes down whenever there's, I don't know, something bad, like, you know, countries saying they no longer want to use the USD, you know, something like that. Could also go down due to economic data like this. Look at New Zealand just hikes interest rate by 50 basis points. Well, I guess New Zealand's also suffering from inflation. Here's the thing people have to realize. Inflation is caused by more money being printed and being circulated. Okay, that's why you have inflation. In crypto, there's inflation too with a lot of projects. But with a few, you know, there isn't. So set supply and inflation rate is important, but with the USD, it's infinite inflation, and it could speed up at any given time due to how much printing, let's say the Fed does, and they have done a lot, 6 trillion within the last 4 years. They just created 300 billion just to bail out the banks just within a matter of a month. But, you know, it happens in every country. That's why you need to turn to something better, like Bitcoin, right? Something that can't just be like, you can't have $4 trillion of it just being minted and distributed on a whim, right? It's set by code. Not even Satoshi could change it if you wanted to. You know, I have a DXY indicator here. Yeah, look at that. The DXY. Let's zoom out a little bit with the DXY. So when DXY goes down, Bitcoin goes up. The Bitcoin, I mean, you could see it right here. And when DXY goes up, Bitcoin goes down. So DXY, you know, when it goes down, that's a good thing. DXY right now is about 102. We'd love to see that fall further back down below 100. That would really, really help. The Feezy, I agree with him. People that are trying to dodge or doge taxes. Just think about this. Later on, when you are much wealthier from your crypto and Bitcoin, when you are a multimillionaire or centimillionaire or a billionaire, that's when the IRS comes after you. Okay, right now when you're nobody, you may be able to dodge it and no one really cares. But when you become insanely wealthy due to your gains, that's when they will care. And that's when they will throw you in jail because you are so wealthy and you have avoided taxes for so long, right? So the thing is, pay it, but be smart about it. There are a lot of deductions that you can take, right? And if you don't know about those deductions, make sure you research it. But it all starts with a business, and anyone could create a business. Anyone could create an LLC. Anyone can start a business. So all those deductions that you guys are looking for, right? Those are legal ways to remove your taxes. So if you don't know what they are, go speak to an accountant or CPA advisor. They will help you with that. Have you recovered like BTC from your LA trip? I guess I have. Yeah, it took a few days. All right, guys. Let's call it a night overall. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Tonight, things are looking good. Crypto's coming up. Bitcoin's coming up. Could it be due to softening of the economy? Probably. Could it be due to more countries trying to get off the USD standard? Possibly. Or maybe because Bitcoin is just so undervalued right now, it's nowhere close to $42,000. So maybe that's the reason, right? Nevertheless, stay strong, my friends. Better days are coming. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.